Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new video today. Today I want to discuss, obviously, in light of recent events, obviously in regards to Frank Lampard sacking and obviously Chelsea's appointment of Tuchel, who has taken his first training session tonight as the Chelsea head coach for the first time, and will be in the dugout tomorrow night when obviously Chelsea play Wolves. So obviously I want to obviously say my thoughts firstly on the Frank Lampard sacking and how I feel about it all, and then I want to come on to obviously the bit regarding obviously Tuchel been appointed Chelsea manager, obviously, and why I am, how can I put it, a bit anxious surrounding obviously Tuchel's appointment for obvious reasons. So with Frank Lampard being sacked, personally I disagree with the sacking. That's first and foremost I want to clear off my chest, because reason I disagree with it, or disagree that this is the let's say wrong moment to sack Lampard, is simply because Lampard been a club hero, okay, obviously for him to obviously not only be a club hero but to go through all what he did last season, obviously with the transfer ban and all of that, obviously I just feel like to see Frank Lampard sacked already, just think it's a bit disgraceful really. And the reason why I think Lampard sacking is a bit disgraceful is because simply we should have given him maybe a bit more time to turn things around. Now, okay, the results have not been good enough as of late. In the last 13 games, obviously, clearly, we have not performed the way we thought we should be performing, and that is very, very obvious to see, because obviously, well, it's obvious that we haven't performed the way a Chelsea squad you'd expect to perform, because simply we've been losing games. Our performances, even in the big matches against like Leicester, that 2-0 defeat was horrible to watch, because it appeared as if no players had fight in them. But at the same time, the way I see it as well, what difference is changing the manager of this part of the season going to make? Especially in the sense that, yeah, we can change to Tuchel, but this isn't necessarily going to make a immediate difference. Do I think Tuchel will come in and be better than Frank? Probably not, no. I think Tuchel will maybe have a bit more better performances from the managerial bounce, but after the managerial bounce maybe wears off, we could start seeing Chelsea regress back to the same position as before, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Tuchel to be sacked just like Frank Lampard was, maybe even sooner than Frank, even possibly even at the end of this season. And I know that would be very, very mad to think we could go through two managers in like less than a season, which would be crazy to think that, but I really do think we could. But I just think with Frank, we should have given him more time, to maybe try and, get out of this sticky spell, because at the end of the day, if we were to face facts, we're still in the FA Cup, we're only 5 points behind top 4, and we're still in the UEFA Champions League. We could have given Frank Lampard until maybe like the end of the first round of 16 in the Champions League, or until we're knocked out of the FA Cup, or until like we're further behind, maybe 10 points behind top 4. Okay, you could argue then, if you do that, you're going to then leave it too late, so therefore you wouldn't be able to get top 4 then regardless. Okay, fair enough. That would be a fair enough argument, I do get that. But, at the same time, it's not, well, we've seen teams throughout the Premier League, Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool now are currently going through a bit of a sticky spell at the moment. Only 1 win in 7 games, so There are quite a few teams in the Premier League this season where they've gone through tough spells. We've actually, even though we're going through a tough patch, we've had 13 games in this tough period, I'd say, and we've only won 6 of those 13, which obviously, yeah, that's not good enough for Chelsea. That is obvious to say, but at the same time, 6 wins in 13 games through a difficult period of time, for me, you know, also is rather decent, I think, if I was to be brutally honest. And in addition to that, not only that, but there has been talk surrounding who's to blame. Apparently there's been rumours that obviously Frank has fallen out with the board above him in Mikri, or how you pronounce her name, our sporting director, who signs all our players. Okay, fair enough. Possibly that is true. Not sure really what is true in that perspective. But also, according to reports, also players. Some players, probably the likes of Rudiger, maybe Christensen, possibly. Just naming some names, possibly, who have potentially gone to the hierarchy of the club. But according to reports, some players have gone to the hierarchy of the club, complaining about Frank Lampard's managerial skills, his man management, and stuff. And obviously, the team has decided, well, Roman Abramovich and the board above him have decided that obviously, you know, therefore this warrants Frank to be put out of the job. But at the same time, even though, you know, that could be the case, I don't know how much truth there is, but if that is true about players going to the board, rather than getting rid of your manager, I think we should be getting rid of those players that are actually complaining, because they are the players that are, in my opinion, dead wood in our squad and are a hindrance to that project they were. Because, yeah, okay, some would argue that maybe there's been no play pattern to our game, and yeah, okay, fair enough, we haven't been the best maybe this season at any one given point, but we did go on a 17-game unbeaten run. I think that's the longest of anyone so far in the Premier League, possibly. I'm not really sure, but either way, it was a very decent win run, of course, or not win run, but run of not getting beaten in all competitions, you have to say. So overall, really, I think, you know, sacking Frank Lampard, I just feel we should have given him a bit more time. Turning our attention to Tuchel, who will get his first game as Chelsea manager at home at the Wolves. Obviously, really not really much to say on this. I don't think, well, I know he won't have probably too much influence in terms of, you know, how things will turn out, I'd say, tomorrow. Obviously, he will get to select his starting 11, which I suppose will be a bonus. He'll get, I suppose, his first visit to Stamford Bridge as a footballing manager. I'm not sure whether he's actually stepped inside Stamford Bridge as of yet. So obviously, quite frankly, I don't really know obviously too much about his knowledge of our stadium or anything, but tomorrow will be the first real test for Tuchel in terms of it'll be first idea to how he will set up Chelsea going forward, and it'll be the first game obviously without obviously without obviously Lampard at the club, so it'll be interesting to see what Tuchel does. Tuchel has obviously got the benefit of working with some of these players like Christensen, Pulisic. That's one for starts. Obviously he's German, so he will have, I suppose, a bit of a German connection with, well, we'll be able to communicate quite easily with the German players we've already got in the squad. Whether or not he will favour maybe other players that Lampard didn't, for instance Rudiger, honestly I don't know. But yeah, at the end of the day though, I think Chelsea's expectations, because I even fear for Tuchel as well, because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I support Tuchel. At the end of the day, Tuchel's going to have to win me over, I suppose, at this current present time. But at the same time, okay, with obviously Tuchel coming in, I do fear for Tuchel, because with the expectation Chelsea thinks we can win the league with this squad, I think they're really mistaken, because no offence to some of the players in the squad, but they're not good enough yet. And if it's not they're not good enough, also some of them are getting on. For instance, Thiago Silva, we play him as, or we've played him so far this season as our main, or one of our main centre-backs, alongside Kurt Zouma. And don't get me wrong, but I can't really say, you know, Thiago Silva gives me full of confidence. Okay, Thiago has worked under Tuchel, but Thiago Silva isn't going to be a long-term solution to our problems. You know, really we need a young defender, just put a name out for likes, you know, Matthias de Logier, or I think that's how you pronounce his name, probably got it entirely wrong, but we need a defender like that, or a defender that will be at Chelsea, maybe a bit like John Terry was, you know, for more than just 1 year. We need someone who's going to be there, I think, for many years. That's what I would like to see, a bit of a Chelsea squad that we saw in the early days of the Jose era. That's what we want to build, I hope. You know, instead, we don't want to build a squad that is full of old senior players at the back and young faces at the front, because that isn't building, in my opinion, a good squad. That's going to build a squad where in maybe a couple of seasons may be a short-term fix, but long-term I think we'd be very, very doomed in this aspect of our game. But yeah, at the end of the day, look, I'm nervous about Tuchel because I don't really know Tuchel too well. I think Tuchel could be a good manager. I hope he'll be a good manager for Chelsea. But at the same time, you know, I'm nervous in the sense, for all I know, he could be a terrible manager and could be the worst manager we ever buy into. And yeah, we could come to regret, which I hope we won't, but we could come to regret, obviously, you know, sacking Lampard. Like, yeah, the only thing I will say, that I suppose was a slight positive if you look at it, like, I will say one thing about, obviously, Roman. He did make, I believe it was first ever time actually, in the club's history, he made a statement about, obviously, a footballing manager, and obviously said he was welcome back at Chelsea at any given time, which I think was nice to see. So clearly there was no hard feelings between the owner, which, okay, I do agree, you know, it probably was a hard decision for Abramovich to come to, but at the same time, was it too ruthless as well? Was that hard decision, you know, the best decision? I think, you know, you have to question that as well. But anyway, until the next time, folks, have a great day. Tell me your thoughts on the sacking down below in the comments, and until the next time, see you all later. Please subscribe, like and share this video. Have a great day.